Great. Tell me a little bit about yourself, about your last experience. What do you want to do in data science right now?
And then I'll ask about skiing separately. Maybe this is the most interesting thing for everyone.
Okay, well, now I'm considering different options for new vacancies or jobs related to projects, products in the field of AI and ML. Before that, that is, my last experience was as a product manager at Skyeng. I worked since April last year. Before that, I was mainly engaged in analytics at Skyeng, led analytics, did analytics, created analytics infrastructure, and so on. Here, the last project I worked on is a prototype of an AI teacher, that is, replacing the teacher during lessons. Here we have made such an animated character who talks and hears what you say to him. He can give some tasks, switch slides during a lesson in skiing. You can communicate with him a little and have a dialogue. We did word training there. Dialogue training with the character.
That is some simple exercises. In theory, will this bot be able to be such a working tool in the near future?
Yes, now they are testing it there for introductory lessons because in introductory lessons there is such a simple, more or less linear structure. There is some kind of script that the teacher is following, and there it is possible to carry out most of this lesson automatically.
Can you tell me about this thing? Or is it still a secret story? How did you do it? What problems were there, difficulties, and so on?
Yes, I think I can tell you.
It's going to be really cool. Is this probably one of Sking's strategies, going into learning automation?
This is one of the possible scenarios for the future, which obviously needs to be worked out. The project, what we were doing, ended with this last year. That is, we have made this prototype. Now it has been brought to working condition, and it can be implemented in introductory lessons, including. There is no active development on this topic this year. We calculated and realized that if it is now with the current development of technology to do it in the main lessons, then it needs a large R&D budget. That is, you need to develop a lot of things yourself. In fact, some piece of artificial intelligence to do because regular lessons are more creative and there needs to be something smarter to understand which way to lead the lesson. And this project has now been postponed by Skyeng until the 21st year. But in general, it is clear that this will have to be done sooner or later.
Is it considered successful? Is testing this hypothesis considered successful from a product point of view?
Well, look, we hope that we could, this is the target that we had last year, automate 10% of the usual lesson. If you measure it that way, then no. We realize that we can't do
I see.
10% at the current level because we can't just let the teacher go for 5 minutes out of 50 and allow the student to do anything with this character. But in a number of narrow cases, such as introductory lessons, it works. There's even more. There, even almost half of the lesson can be automated like this.
Listen, I've always been interested to find out whether the role of a product manager in projects without artificial intelligence and the role of a product manager in projects where the main idea is about artificial intelligence is different or not. And this is the first question. The second question is whether the stages are changing. How do you get from an idea to a working MVP? Who checks this or that hypothesis?
It seems to me that the general product approach is the same in all cases. You have a progressive JPEG. First, you have some idea.
Uh-huh.
You have to confirm the demand for this idea. You have to formulate a value somehow, a value proposition. You have to calculate the unit economy. to build some kind of prototype in the cheapest way. That is, all these steps, they seem to me to be the same. That is, it doesn't matter what you do there, AI is there or not AI, just some kind of IT solution, a product. You're going through all these stages anyway, and it would be a mistake to sit down and do some super smart AI right away without checking all these product points from the very beginning. Therefore, it seems to me that up to a certain point, there is not much difference. There is a difference already at the stage when there is a confirmed demand. Some other marketing experiments have been carried out. There is an understanding of what to do. The product has already been formulated. And there is just an active development going on, already the production of some complex solution that is no longer a prototype, but some kind of close to the final one. That is, it is no longer a prototype, but some kind of solution close to the final version. That's where some nuances begin. Because if you are making this ML or AI solution, it seems to me that the product manager needs to understand this at least a little bit in order to understand how it will be at all. To evaluate some basic things such as expenses, how it will work, how we will measure the quality of this result. That is, you need to understand how ML models are evaluated in general. What are the classes, the complexity of these models? What are the solved tasks now? What are the unsolved ones? It is clear if there is some smart developer who can answer all these questions. But it is important for a product manager to be able to ask these questions.
Now listen, and if you go down a little to the technical level, what stages do you distinguish from an idea to a working MVP? If we are talking about machine learning.
Well, first we need to, if we already want to develop something, first we need some kind of baseline. Any machine learning model, it
training.
Automates something, some kind of manual action. What is ML now? It's just automation.
Don't know.
What were
Let's
the
use your
stages
example.
here?
Using the example of Skyeng, this is the most interesting. What stages would your task with this MVP with a teacher be divided into?
Firstly, just take understand, explore the market, see who has already done something on this topic and how it works. It was necessary to understand, to find out what already exists. MyBuddy.ai, who also have such a character in the application. Or that there are other options, types of artificial intelligence, to understand in general what there is. The second stage is to try to make at least some kind of prototype. Our very first prototype sounded like this. Here we need to take our character, which we use in children's lessons. There is one. We need to animate it, and for it to say something there, some kind of dialogue. And just to understand in general, to conduct corridor tests, just turn on this character in the lesson for the student and see how the students will react to it. One dude on a test assignment made such a character, and we looked at how it is in general. It looks normal or it's complete nonsense.
Does a person warn me that there will be such a function?
We tried it in different ways. We have different ways to find the subjects. There are loyal students who can be told, listen, we're doing one thing here, let's try it. You can do it without warning. We did it without warning too. We agreed with the teachers that we have such a thing. Let's turn it on, see what happens. That is, there, of course, there is no AI. It's just an animation in Unity and a recorded dialogue that he says there in a synthesized voice. Here, our task is to understand how students will react to this. Well, to understand what the teacher's points of view are. Does it seem useful to them? How do they feel about it? Can I do it?
From here, we can draw such a conclusion or a useful remark that even if the development of an AI solution has begun, it is not always necessary to make the first decision at all with AI.
It is necessary as soon as possible, or it may be useful as soon as possible to give at least some decision.
Sure, there must be a baseline that is generally stupid without any AI. It doesn't matter what task you are doing. For example, you do the recognition of cats and dogs, but you need to come up with some simple, stupid heuristics that if there are ears like that, then a dog, if so, then a kitty, or if you make an ML forecast, then a stupid baseline. Well, I don't know. You make a temperature forecast, you have a stupid baseline of 26 degrees. 26 like today. Yes, or just like yesterday, or just like today. Well, it is clear that you must have any job, any IT solution, including those related to ML and AI. It is done iteratively. And your first iteration is some kind of super dumb thing. That's kind of super easy to do, and then you have to set some kind of metric like the accuracy of your decision or forecast or ML model, according to which you then do the next iteration and understand whether it has become better or not. Yes, it is.
Is this approach applicable in a situation where I don't want to launch a product in a company, but I want to launch a startup as a new business?
Well, yes, the same thing. Well, that is, I now have plans to do a couple of side projects too. And how does this happen? You take it, you look. That is, how would you like to make some kind of AI service? There you look at what is on the market, you find competitors. You are trying to make a proxy and just sell the solution of competitors on your landing page. Well, just to understand what the demand is, what kind of unit economy is there, is it worth doing this at all? Then when you have a certain number of customers, you already think about how to assemble this model yourself. We were doing another project that we did last year. This is the recognition of emotions. We have made our decision. The idea of the product is that we showed happy shots from the lesson at the end of the lesson. That is, throughout the lesson, we parsed and recognized emotions through this video stream that goes on during the lesson. And we looked where the students, teachers are smiling. They have some kind of admiring, cheerful ones there.
In general,
Well,
how did Microsoft do it too?
I can't say right now what exactly we used, but the fact is that yes. So what did we do first? We took a ready-made service with a ready-made service. We learned to get these emotions. Then they just made a GIF out of these pictures and showed it at the end of the lesson. That is, there was such a product solution. Naturally, we made it on a ready-made service.
And what did you want to influence with this decision?
The hypothesis was that the student would be more satisfied. That is, if you show him some funny, cool
Very
moments, he will have a better impression of the lesson at the end of the lesson.
difficult.
As a result, we launched it. We conducted both tests. We saw that our conversion to repeat payments increased significantly. That is, the conversion to repeated payments in the group that had this feature increased by 2.5 percentage points. There were a lot of product experiments. I didn't do that. There are individual guys who made different versions of these GIFs. They came up with the mechanics of where to put them, on which particular slide, how to serve everything. That's what it is visually. Before we started making some kind of AI model ourselves, for about 6 months, we tuned the whole story so that it really began to bring money. And when it really started to make money, then we went, counted the cost, how much it would cost if we rolled it all out for all the lessons. We realized that it would be quite expensive, that it would be more profitable to make our own model. And then we realized that we already had a big data set with recognized emotions. We have already made our own model on this data set plus on the open source data set, which works 10 times cheaper than the finished service, and it works fine.
Don't you think that you are satisfied with the quality because your task does not require much effort?
Our task is to glue these pictures into a GIF in those cases when they are definitely smiling and
Cool.
everything is fine and cool with them. Accordingly, if we have a small confidence in some number of cases, well, fuck it, we just
Little
cut out
confidence.
these pictures.
We have the last minute. The idea of the AI community is to focus on business topics. about the commercialization of IA, about the launch of startups, about what we discussed with you today. And in general, most of these myths should be removed, including those that you told today. What do you think, or what would you like to happen in the community, or do you think it should develop? What must necessarily happen in it for it to develop and be useful?
Good question. I now see that there is a very large community of such technical, that is, dudes who are engaged in open source,
This is open data science.
ML, and so on. These are mostly guys who are in love with this job, in love with ML, with AI, who are very well versed in the technical aspects that participate in competitions. That is, they are professionals in their field. But at the same time, in this community business, it seems to be perceived as just like a customer who gives money. To do this, that is, I don't know, a patron, a customer. That's the story. At the same time, the guys make different models purely for their own pleasure. I see that many people have such a mood. They are attracted simply by the fact that they make different models. And in business, of course, that's all. In business, the result is important, money. And this seems to be not enough communication on the topic of how to turn all this semi-scientific, semi-professional, and technical into a monetary result.
Which is in fact what I came up with this idea with. You repeated, in fact, my internal dialogue with myself. It's interesting to think
Of the community as a product that we use too, and what I'm thinking about now, but if it's a product, what hypotheses should be checked? What first of
all, does it make sense to look at what should be the first working mechanisms of this product? Do you understand the area of issues?
Yes, I understand. Well, I don't know. It's difficult. We should try to do meetups, conferences, hackathons. That's all that ODS does. We should try to repeat, but only from a slightly different angle, probably so.
In general, if you see a desire and interest in this topic, to connect with your expertise, I will definitely invite you to the community for reasoning, for reflection, for experiments.
Yeah.
If you will, if you find an opportunity of temporary interest to connect, to share your expertise separately outside of this call, I will be grateful to you, not only me.
Okay.
I'm letting you go. It was very nice to meet and chat. It feels like a
Yeah.
huge wagon of experience. Such a calm, conscious without hysteria, how to launch products without spending an insane amount of money, time, nerves.
There is such a thing.
I wish you to find a place, if about work, a place where it will be in maximum demand, so that you are understood and accepted. That's it. Come on, have a nice day. While